Hello everybody, it's Claire here from Sewn by Claire, and today we are going to continue on and finish with our final chapter in the Making Lily. Oh, I can't get it to go right. Let me bring it back here. With sorry, trying to get the light right. With making Lillian the Lamb from Lilly Rose Dolls. Now she's a 22-inch character, and we've been making her body and her limbs, then her head, then her bloomers, I can say pantaloons again, bloomers, then her lovely underdress, and then her pinafore dress. And if I just show you this is Lillian all funny made now. So the slight's going to a whiter outline, so I'll stand her back here for you so that you can see. Now Lillian is almost finished, apart from the one thing that's different to the picture and to the box, and sorry, to the finished character, is her headdress. And so whilst the headdress isn't part of the kit, then Claire, who's the designer at Lilly Rose Dolls, has included instructions for you for how to make a circlet for the top of Lillian's head. And so I'm going to take you through that today. So I hope that if you are wanting to finish Lillian off exactly as she is in the box, and then you'll just need her headdress to finish, like a bit of a flower crown really, I suppose, and it turns her into a true princess then, doesn't it? And we're going to be making that today. So let me just turn the camera down for you and then we'll get started. Okay, so just show you a little bit more closely on the picture. This is the crown here that we're talking about. We've got a couple of pictures there with Lillian wearing her crown, and again here. And what I've done is I've pulled up, I've gone to the website for Lilly Rose Dolls, which is this website address here. I'll pop it on the screen for you so you can see it a bit more clearly. In order to have it, because I know that on the photograph, get my words right, you can tell I've just started recording again, can't you? On the listing for the kit or for the pattern, there are more pictures, and actually they're photographs rather than drawn pictures. And I think they are a really, really good reference for us when we are making this. So let me just get my laptop to show you that picture with the crown so that we can then have a look and see it in actual person. Okay, so I've just brought the picture up here. There's actually more pictures of Lillian here on wearing her crown, so we can see it from different angles, and that's the pattern. So the first one, its first picture is the picture of the pattern, but then once you go past that first one, let's go back to here, so there you get the first one, but then if you go past through there, you can see her crown here, another one here, a little side view, and then this was the best one that I thought that we could work with, which is from the top, and then another one from the side. So let me just get onto that top one again, because I think that is the best one that we get. And on my screen I can just blow that up just to have a little look and to see how that's going to look. But what we need to do is get the instructions out of the kit, which we'll do now, and then we can have a look and see at what Claire actually says we need to do in order to complete Lillian's little flower crown. And then I'm going to take you all through it, and we'll do it together. Now, if anybody has seen my channel before, I'm sorry for the crinkling of the paper, I have done some Christmas garlands before, which are going to be very, very similar, I think, to this. So I think we've already had a little bit of help with that. So it's going to be interesting now to see how we get on with this. So we're going to, first disclaimer, I haven't got, it does say to use 20 gauge florist wire, which I haven't got. What I have got is this garden wire that we've got in our store garage. So I'm going to use several lengths of this, but I do think that if we get 4 or 5 circles of this, it will be strong enough in the end in order to be able to then use it as a starting point for the wire. So this is the green wire from the garden people. I got it from Spain. It's 0.7 millimeters and there's 40 meters on here. I know it wasn't overly expensive, but the other thing that you could try and use is a wire coat hanger as well. Sometimes if you've got some tools that will cut through the wire, then you can use that. Talking of tools, what I have got is a little kit here, because if you've got a little kit like this, which could be quite handy really to have around the house, and you've got a pair of pliers, then I know we've got these needle nosed pliers here, but just in that section just there, just in here, is a wire cutter. so we can use those to cut our wire rather than using some scissors. So that's what I'm going to use to cut my wire. I've also got my trusty glue gun ready in case we need that. And I've also got some of this Gutermann HT2. Now this is a textile glue, but because we're working with the floristry tape, I think that might be enough just to hold that down for me, because I managed to get hold of some florist tape. You'll see me in a later video next week waxing lyrical about not being able to find any, but I did manage to find some in the end. So the videos have just got out of order, so I do apologise for that. Okay, let me get myself straight and then we'll get started. There was just one very important thing that I didn't show you, and that was the flowers that we're going to be put on it. So I've got these little silk roses that have been very kindly gifted to me by Lilly Rose Dolls in order that I can bring this video to you. And I've got 8 of these roses. Now let me just measure, tape measure there, one of these to tell you how big the heads are. They're about 1.5 inches across the head, which is about 3.5 centimetres. It's just, yeah, 3.5 centimetres for those. And there's 8 of those that I'm going to be using today, and they've got these wire stems, so they are sort of poseable, if you like. So there's 8 of those. There's then some bits of what looks like a bit like gypsophila. I think that's how you pronounce it, which are these bits here. So these are all just plastic as well, though the other ones were silk roses. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. So 8 roses and 7 pieces of this white filler flower, I would call that. And then I've got this length of, it just looks like it's cut out of silk. There's no wire in it at all, but it's little green leaves. Let me hold it like that. That's probably how you can best see it. A little bit of a sheen to them. But to be fair, any kind of green foliage, if you have a look in your shops, if you're in the UK, perhaps somewhere like Dunelm would have some little faux kind of flowers. I know they have a faux flower display, and sometimes garden centres do as well. And I just need a length of that. Let me just measure this for you and tell you how long this length is, because that will then help you, won't it, if you're trying to find just to about there. So just about 1 3/4 metres, that is. I think it's probably just a set length that just comes in each pack. So between 1.5 and 2 metres, and I think you're going to be not far wrong with that. So what we're going to do now is we need to measure Lillian's head, which is the thing. And obviously you can have more or less flowers than this if you want to. It's just that is what I'm going to be using, because that's what I've got available. So let's get our lovely, lovely model here, Lillian. Here she is. And the first thing I'm going to do is measure around her head to see how big we want this circlet to be. So I want it to just go off the back of her head a little bit. So that for me is about 13 inches, I think, maybe, yeah, about 13 inches. And then we have to add 1.5 inches to that. So I'm going to go to 14.5 inches for mine, which is 36 centimetres. So that's what we're going to be going for. My lengths. So basically what I'm going to do is going to measure off to the edge, for this case 14.5, but rather than cut it, I'm bending it, and then so I can use that now as my measure, and I'm going to get as many lengths as I can do, but I'm aiming for 6, but I've got my wire all tangled up, so I'm going to cut it off after 4, just by cutting through with my trusty wire cutters, and then I'll cut off another 2 lengths, and then we can join those up at the end, can't we, with our wire, to make sure that this is going to go right. There we go. So I've got 6 thicknesses of wire. And some of these things are a bit kind of, I can give you a guideline, but you're just going to have to see what you can find locally, and then what you actually want to be working with. So this is my longest piece. Let's work with this piece first. So we need this here to be 14.5. I think Claire said add some extra just so that we know that it's going to fit at the end, and we can always bend it up a little bit. So that's my start. So let's bend this wire around and just give it a little twist in order to give us a bit of a start point with our wire. And you can use the, if your fingers are a bit delicate, then you can use the pliers to just crimp that wire together onto itself, and also just to give it a little twist just so that that holds together. You see how that's held together now. So let me just try this onto Lillian again. Yep, that's going to be fine. I can see that that's going to fit a little bit. It's not skin tight, but we don't want it to be skin tight anyway. So what I'm going to do now with my piece of wire, watching out for my eyes, is I'm just going to twist this around the original loop that I've just made. So I'm taking the long loose end and I'm just taking that in and out and around so that it's starting to make a framework. So now I've got two wires round. I probably ought to have got a white background for this, doing this video, because the green against the green might not be so clever for you. But let's just carry on and we'll see how we go. So I've got to the start again, so let's just carry on round again. So I'm just going to carry on winding this round till I've used up all of the wire. Okay, so here we've got our circle of wire, so just hold that close so you can see. So it just look a little bit like vines all wound around, which is what we are wanting to do. Let's just try it onto Lillian again, because again, I don't want to get to all the trouble and get to the end of finishing and then find it doesn't fit, but that actually fits really nicely. That just holds on there very nicely, so that's good. So we can carry on now with confidence. Before we carry on, what I want to do is just start to place some of these flowers in order that and I'll place them underneath the wire so that we can lift these up, because we want to be able to get these so that they're equal around, really, if we can. So I'm just starting to put them first, the flowers, on the quarters. You see how those go on the quarters? And now I'm going to put another flower in between. Now, I'm not attaching these onto the wire at the moment. This is just to give us some idea of placement and see what this is going to look like. Yes, I thought I'd lost one then. It's over the other side. So that's the 8 flowers there that are all going to look lovely in there. And now if we put a piece of the gypsophila or the fake other flowers in the middle of each of those, then that is where we were hopefully, oh, I'm going to be one short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, what a shame. So we're going to have a double rose at the very front then. Let's improvise. So here's going to be my front with the 2 roses at the front, and then everything else is going to be then 1 flower and then 1 piece of white. And then we can either have this at the front or at the back. I mean, it could look nice at the back, couldn't it, with a bit of ribbon? I might put a little bit of a streamer ribbon down the back of it in order that that looks nice. So the first thing that I'm going to do now is, because these little plastic ones here haven't got any wire on them, I'm going to use a little bit of my florist wire here, or my garden wire. It is green, so that does help. And we're going to put a little stem onto each of those, because I think that will help us then when we're wrapping these round for them to be able to stick into the right place. And on the end of these flowers, you tend to get a little sort of like hole, and I can pop that in. So if we let's use my glue gun, because that will set more quickly. Whoops, knocked my flowers. And get this plugged in, and then we'll be then able to just put some wire onto those. Okay, so I think my glue gun has warmed up a little bit. We'll try it and see. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue into the end of one of the plastic flowers, and then I'm just going to push a bit of the wire down inside. So that's one done. And this shouldn't take too long in order to do this, but it should just secure those wires in so that we've got a little bit longer to wrap around, and they'll actually attach well into the flowers. The roses have already got enough on them, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'm not worrying too much about how messy it is. That was a bit of a big glue globule, but we're going to cover it over in a minute, so you'll see how we're going to tidy that up. And again, you could just stick these on with glue straight away if you wanted to. I was just trying to make this just a little bit stronger so that in the future they're not going to just sort of kind of drop off on me, which is what I don't want them to do. this little glue gun I think was only, I think it might have been 10 or 12 euros, so they don't have to be expensive. And then you just have to buy cartridges for the little glue sticks and just stick them in the back. And the glue does get hot, so you do have to be careful. I wouldn't recommend it for children, because if you touch the glue it does sometimes just catch you out, but it's a good start. So let's go back to the one that we've just done. That's already dry now and cold. So let's just take a bit of this floristry ribbon and my scissors. Managed to find it from a garden centre in the end. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue just on the top there, and then start this ribbon off. Just do it slightly at an angle, and then I'm just going to wrap it down around the wire just to sort of cover that up. Sorry, was I off camera then? Sometimes I forget to look. Get so engrossed in what I'm doing, and then you can just twist that round there. And then at the end, I'm just going to take that off. Probably got too much there. Little bit of glue at the end. And again, if you've not got a glue gun, you can use your Gutterman glue and use that instead, just to glue those on. Just make sure that's kind of on there where we want it to be. So that's one done. So what I'm doing is, whilst we could leave them like this, so with the plastic and the stem cut it, the wire put in for the stem, I'm just sort of changing them to that, because I think when we wind these around on here and then finally attach them, it's going to give even more of that vine-like look to the stems and to the headdress when we've finished. You imagine all the roses and everything else all put on there. So let me go ahead now and just do the same thing with each of these green little filler flowers, and then we'll come back in order to look at what we're doing with the rest of it. Okay, so once I've done that with all of those fill-in flowers, I'm now going to do the same with these flowers as well, because I think that the green is going to be better than this pale green against the green of the headdress. So I do think that will look better and just help blend that all into one. So I am going to just cover these over. Is it necessary? Possibly not, but I just want it to look really nice. I'm enjoying myself. So I'm going to just go ahead and cover these now. I'm just keeping the same wire in. I'm just putting some more of the floristry tape around and using the glue gun just to attach that in. Okay, so I've got my circlet. I've now got my 8 roses with the stems all covered, and I've got my 7 flowers with their stems all covered with the floristry ribbon as well. So the next thing that we're going to do is let's find the join, and we're going to hide it anyway with a rose, so I'm not going to worry. So I'm just going to use my glue gun to just glue onto the wire, and I'm going to sit my first rose on, and then I'm going to wind the stem around the headdress. So that looks like that. Then let's get the second one, and I'm going to sit that just next to it. So let's try and get 2 flowers that look pretty symmetrical, so they look nice and that they're going to sit nicely for the front. Then once I'm ready, double of glue on, sit my flat rose on top, and then I wind the stem around to hold it into place. So the stem is like the belt and braces, if you like. So there we've got our first 2 flowers on. I don't tend to worry about the strings too much until the end. So that's those 2. So let's now go across so that we get these equally spaced. Let's now go across and put one across onto here. So a bit of glue on the wire, pop a rose on, and then I'm just winding the stem around the wire like that. That's another one. Let's come over to this quarter now. So again, thinking about the clock. So this is the 6 o'clock, that's a 12 o'clock, and let's put them opposite sides. So just think about that as the face on a clock. The glue will just hold it in place for you, and will set, but we're going to cover that up, so don't worry, you're not going to see that glue once we've finished, because I don't like to see the glue on things when I've finished them. So that's that one there. Just bend it so that it sticks out slightly, and then let's put another one across over here. So putting the main features on first before we start to fill in with anything else. That's that one. And let's say the wire goes round. So there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to fill these in. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. I must have lost one. Where have I lost one? Hold on a second. I've miscounted, haven't I? So I've put the 2 together here. I think it's because we've only got the 7 for there. This is why I say it's best to lay it out first before you start. I think I might have to discard one of my roses. Let me just pop these in and just see how this is going to look again with the bits that we've got. So I think there's going to be a very clear front to mine, and then I'm going to be filling in the back. And that might be able to just sit between those 2 on the front there. Okay. Yeah, what's happened is, because I've only got 7 of these and I've got 8 of the flowers, then I was forgetting that these need to be better spaced in order to fit them round. So this is why I say you need to just fold it out, roll it out, or just set it out so that you can see where you are. I'm going to put one of these in between these 2 middle flowers just here. So I'm just going to separate out those flowers just so that it adds a bit of detail on the front there. So I've just got to poke it through for now, and then let's just pop a bit of this glue on so that that will just hold that piece in place. And again, just wrap the wire stem around so it is building that up. That just makes that look really nice and pretty there. We're then going to put a rose in between each of these 2, and again you can just do something that suits you and how you want your flower crown to look. It's personal choice, and also it'll depend on what you've been able to get your hands on, won't it, as well, in terms of what supplies you've been able to get. So let's just pop that flower up there and push that up, push it out, and then we'll do another one just here. So we've got that detail all at the very front. Sorry, I keep taking it off camera, don't I? I do apologise. Right. Make sure that leaf hasn't got caught down. That's it, that's underneath. Oh, ouch. Hot glue. Just bend that head out slightly. So that's what that's looking like at the moment. We've got that one lone one at the back. I might even just pop that one in the back there, or just to balance it out slightly at the back. I might be able to do that. But let's carry on around the front first, and then we'll worry about the back afterwards. So I know then that I want to put some more of these little white ones now in between each of these. And what you can do is, if you just sort of fluff them up a little bit, just separate out, because they're plastic, you can separate out these stems just to make them look a little bit fuller. So they will, to some extent, and especially if they're wired, then they'll go a little bit fuller so that they can fill in more of the gaps for you in between. So let's pop that one in there like that. So let's pop some glue under there just to hold that one in place. And then I'm going to wind the long wire from it around the back, watching out for the leaves and watching out for the hot glue. Just keep those stems going round. That's got that one on there. Make sure that it's in the position you want it to be. And then let's find another one here. Just sort of fluff it out a little bit more. Here wants to be a little bit further up. And then that one can fit in there. If I go that way, it's looking like it's got a bit of a chain effect on it. I'll show you in a second. So I'm just going to go around now and just build these flowers up into position that I want them to be in around this circlet. You have got to be careful of your fingers. You're going to get a lot of, if you're using a glue gun, you will get a lot of these stringy ends, but we can cut those off at the end. So that's how it's looking at the moment. Starting to look really pretty. Just don't want my plastic bits. And we can always just sort of fold these plastic bits back, or you can even glue some of them down a little bit more if you wanted to, and just make them sort of circle around the flowers a little bit more. It's looking pretty though. And then let's put another one inside the middle here. I'm going to need a new glue stick in a second. Put that on top there. And line that round. Put one around here. If you want to hold it until that glue is set, you can do, and then you can start manipulating your flowers and your wire if you wanted to, just to get that looking right. That's what we've got at the moment. So let's put one of these at the back here as well, and I'm going to put some ribbon around the back here just to, and we've still got the leaves to go on yet. So that's going to fill out some of it for us as well, isn't it? And I think leaving that extra length on the measurement was a good idea, because these stems are going to take up some of that slack in your design anyway. New glue stick out. That should hold it just for now. Just put that on. So that's what it's looking like in its raw state at the moment. We've got the double flower at the front there, and then we've got the other ones then coming round. It's looking pretty, isn't it? You could do this for a bridesmaid, couldn't you, or for a little girl's dressing up box as well, to make it look really nice. I have got one rose left. I'm going to leave that for the moment because I don't want it to kind of... Oh no, we could put it at the back here, couldn't we? And then at least it's used, isn't it? Let's use it. I need to get a new glue stick. Hold on one second. This is how you buy your glue sticks, just in a packet like this. And there's lots of just these long strips of glue. And then all you do is just pop it in the back there, and eventually the trigger will get hold of it and pull it forward, and then you'll be able to pop it in. It just then pulls it forward and it pushes the other stick through. Sometimes you have to just put a little bit of pressure on the back of it just to get it to sit right. So that's that one round as well. Spin that so that we've got the lovely two there. Okay, so that's how mine's looking at the moment. Obviously you can fill in these gaps if you wanted to with more flowers if you've got them. I'm just working with what I've got, and I think it is going to look lovely, I have to say. Okay, so that's got those main features on for now. The next thing then I'm going to work with is our silk, and this is going to get tangled up, so just be warned that you're going to have that. And there was one side with a longer edge, so I'm going to start with this side here, and let's start at the back and we'll go round to the front. So I'm just going to start this off on this wet glue that I've got just at the front here, sorry, at the back here, so that will just hold on there. And then once that's actually got hold, we can then en masse pop these ribboned leaves through. And that's going to add another lovely dimension. So I think rather than getting them too close together to start off with, just make sure your bits of wire for your holding your ends in. I think we'll end up going round a couple of times. So I'm just going to go round. Like I say, you get tangled up and in between the flowers as well. So let's keep on doing that. Doesn't have to be tight because you want these little leaves to be sticking out. It's just going to wrap around. And you might need to just be super careful if you're gifting your Lillian Lamb to a child at all for sitting on their wardrobe, because they will get it down at some stage, I'm sure, to look at and admire. Then you may wish to just be extra careful with those ends of the wire, because you'll need to be making sure that they're not a point hazard or a hazard to hurt them. We want to keep our children safe, don't we? So I'm just making sure that I don't put all of these leaves right back against the wire. I'm sort of leaving them a bit proud over the top of the flowers, and that's giving this lovely full effect where you can see them. If I pulled them straight, really tight in towards the wire that we used for the frame, then they're going to disappear to some degree. I don't want them to hide the roses, but I also want them just to stick through the white flowers that we've got. And if you notice, I glued down the start, but I haven't glued down anything else at this time. So I think that what I'm going to do is still loosely wrap those around these roses too. And then we're at the beginning. There we go. So I'm going to use these to hide where I've got my bare patch at the back from miscounting, which you're not going to do. You're going to count yours beautifully. Just make sure your leaves are covering your glue as well. And you might find you've got an up and a down when you do this. So let's go round that flower, and then that will anchor that down, and then I'm going to go back around just the back bit with what's left over. And then we can fold these silk leaves out to add more definition as well. And I've got quite a big dobber of glue there, so I'm going to make sure that I do cover that up with the leaves. So it's just looking for anything that you might consider to be an imperfection. I don't think you'll notice it once it's actually on Lillian's head, but anything that you're not so happy with, you can just cover over with some of your leaves. And if you had flowers with individual leaves, you could always glue on individual leaves, like we've done the rose buds anyway. That would also work. And then I'm just going to go back again on the back here. So that's, I mean, you can cut it off once you've used enough, once you've used up as much as you want, but I'm happy to make sure that my roses aren't covered up. But just keep going through, and then when we get round to the front here, I'm going to find a suitable place, a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to glue that last leaf down. Push my glue stick in. That's it, just a little bit there. You can even use your tweezers as well, just to make sure that that's going to sit down for you and glue down, rather than burn your fingers, which also I have done today. Okay, so that's just sitting on there just nicely. So now I'm just going to go round and just fluff out the leaves that have got caught up, because some have got caught behind other flowers, just to give it that fullness. But that's how it's looking now. Doesn't that look amazing? That looks really full, really pretty. Just fold out some of these leaves. Some of them are a bit poseable, not all of them. But to make a really, well, isn't it fun to be able to play with such beautiful things, hey? And just to have a go at doing this type of thing. I really, really have enjoyed making this little crown. There's flowers just sticking through. Just make sure that they kind of push the stem. There's a stem and then there's the leaf. So I'm trying to push the stems behind the little white flowers, and then have them just poke out through the little white flowers, which I think looks really, really nice. Just pull anything out that you feel wants a bit more. Let's have a look now. So that's looking good. I'm going to put a ribbon down the back of mine, I think, as well. Where did I put my ribbon? Here. I've got this lovely pink little edged ribbon that I'm going to use for mine. Let's have a look. Lillian, see how long we want this ribbon to be. Want it to go down your back, probably about there. And I want to put a bow on it as well, so let's try to about there. So in the middle of these two flowers here, just going to wrap my ribbon around. Now obviously you'll need to, I've got this ribbon from out of my stash, so hopefully you've got some ribbon that you can use. Just tie it in a little knot. I'll just tie it in a bow. It might be a bit much. We'll see. I won't glue this on just yet, and we'll put it on her and then we'll have a look and see. And I haven't cut the ribbon yet either, so again we can have a look and see if that's a little bit of overkill or not, just going down her back. So that's the circlet finished. Let's just have a little try on her head now and just hopefully tidy up a little bit. Let's have a look at you, Lillian. Get you on screen this time. Sometimes I'm, oh gosh, look at that. Look at that. Oh my word. So that fits beautifully. I am happy with the ribbon down the back, so I am going to just take this down and just snip it off. That one just wants to be a bit more at an angle for me. Can use some fray check on the back of that. So my error with counting has not turned it into a disaster, which is good. I bet you were shouting at the screen, weren't you, to tell me. Just got one or two flower leaves I want to sort of pull out, and I also want to just go round it now before we pop it on finally. And I'm just looking for any of those little clear strings of glue. Just pull those off and pop them into your bin. They just pull away like little whiskers like this. Can you see just in there? If I can get this light to shine on it, just pull those off. They're unavoidable with a glue gun, unfortunately, but you can just see them and just pull them off, and just pull your leaves round just to cover everything. Okay, I'm going to finish that now because there's going to be a quick short video for you, hopefully. Hope you've enjoyed that. Just fluffy flowers up as well, so you get a nice dimension on those. Make sure they're not being flattened by the leaves at all like that one has. Get that nice dimension going, that nice width. Can make it look lovely and full, doesn't it, then? Okay, let me just turn the camera around and we'll have a little look at how Lillian is doing. Okay, so there we are. Here's Lillian with her beautiful headdress, finishing off her total outfit. There's the ribbon that I chose to pop down the back, which I think I like anyway. Depends. These things you can embellish however much you like. Obviously, this same technique for this floral headdress could be used for any of your dolls as well, if you wanted to dress them up in this way. The technique is just the same one as I used to make the decorations for Christmas as well. So it's just about placing those main pieces first, or getting your shape first, and then placing your main pieces, which in this case was the rosebuds, and then using your fillers, and then wrapping around the vine that we'd got then to hide that wire in the end. And I think you'll agree that even from every angle, that's looking pretty. Very adorable on Lillian, and I think she's rocking that flower headdress just beautifully. So I hope you've enjoyed, I hope you've enjoyed sewing along with me. I hope you've enjoyed sticking along with me today. I'm absolutely thrilled with Lillian, I have to say. I know the kit isn't a cheap one, but the finished result is absolutely stunning. I hope you agree. I think she's a real addition to any doll collection for anybody, and yeah, or a gift for anybody as well for a special occasion. So okay, that's it from me from Lillian. We've finished. She's finished. I hope you've enjoyed it all, the whole series all together. If you have, then I'd love it if you think about subscribing to my channel and following along with me with my other sewing escapades and other sew along videos. We've got more Lilly Rose Dolls to come, and hopefully that you will be absolutely thrilled with your Lillian at the end. If you have been sewing and sticking along with me, then please put me a comment at the bottom to say if you've made Lillian and if you found all of the tips and tricks helpful, because that really does help inspire me to keep bringing these videos to you. And I love to interact with all of the subscribers and followers as well, and hear what you're up to, whereabouts in the world you are, and the aspects of sewing or that you enjoy. So yeah, from Lillian and I, we're going to say a really big thank you to Claire and Richard of Lilly Rose Dolls for the kit, in order that I could bring this sew along series to you, and I hope that you end up with a Lillian that you love too, as much as I do. Take care everybody, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye, happy stitching.